Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's talk about banners. How do you design a great YouTube banner? Profile banners are a lot more important than a lot of people realize. When people come to your profile, this could be any profile. It could be on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube. You want to communicate quickly and clearly what you're all about. So someone who's visiting your page can do what we call in the branding and marketing industry, self-identify. That is essentially saying to themselves, hey, this person whose page I'm visiting is really talking to me. They care about what I care about. They can help me grow, they can help me solve this problem I have, or they can help me learn this thing I want to learn. Okay, so how do you do it? Well, if you're trying to build a YouTube channel, there are some specific technical and communication-driven things that you really have to address when you're making your YouTube banner. Okay, now before we jump into some visual specifics, let's talk about some must-haves that you have to have on your banner. One is you have to have your name or your company name, and also your logo or your company logo. You want to have what you do or what you offer on your channel, your mission, definitely your URL, some clickable links to social channels. Also, your visual design has to really align with what your brand design is. So your thumbnail design aesthetic, your color palette, your fonts, your patterns, your textures, your layout style, and your photography style. And you definitely want to dial in a little bit of human personality into all this as well. Now, a few of the nice to haves on a YouTube banner or any banner is how often you post. Also, possibly a tagline or a catchphrase. You might have some downloads available that are available to people to get, or some promotions of things like books or courses that you're offering. You might want to list something about your credentials, so what your past experience is to add that level of credibility. You might have icons for apps or brands that you focus on in your content. If you're a larger organization, you might actually want to feature some of your team members, and we'll see an example of that when we look at specifics. And then, this is a simple one, but a lot of people do it, which is just adding arrows to help draw people's attention to what you want them to click. So now let's dive in and really look at some specific examples of YouTube banners and talk about what's working and what's not working.
Okay, so now let's look at some real life examples. First of all, I want to just jump into just a little bit of technical stuff. So if you look at this template, you can download this from Google. This is the template for a YouTube banner. And you'll notice that it's actually pretty wide. It's a wide 16:9 format. And this is because you can actually pull up YouTube channels on large screen televisions. And when you do that, you actually see this entire space. And but the important thing to remember is that when you're on a desktop or a mobile, you actually only see this center banner. So most people focus their artwork on this center banner, and in particular this very center section. So as you create a YouTube banner, you actually have to take in consideration a lot of different aspect ratios, from the largest on a TV to the smallest, which is in the center. And you'll see how some people focus most of their attention on designing the center. But as you design your thumbnail, you actually have to fill this whole space. So keep that in mind as you're doing it. And you can just, as I said, download this template from Google. It's really easy to find. Okay, so let's move on and look at some real designs. So the first one we're going to look at is Jason Resnick, who is an email automation expert, and he has a channel about that. You can see that he shows a lot of the icons from ConvertKit and Kajabi, WordPress, a lot of the applications that his content focuses on, and he's very clear about who it's for: email automation for online businesses, coaches, and course creators, etc. And he has a company called NurtureKit. So he has his name, his company, titles the channel, nice warm picture of himself, icons, and then he also has some free tips that you can download here over on the side with his LinkedIn social icon. So utilizes the space really well. The real important stuff he keeps to the center in case the stuff on the side gets cut off in different formats. So very smart design. Moving on to David Breyer. David Breyer is a rebranding expert, friend of mine, and he has a very interesting design aesthetic, which is this kind of duotone, acidy photography style, which he uses in a lot of what he does, including his videos. So design-wise, it's aligned with his aesthetic. He does branding, rebranding, growth strategies, so he's very clear about that. He posts the cadence of when he posts new videos every week. He features his book over here, Brand Intervention, but again, he keeps the important stuff to the center in case this stuff on the side gets cut off. And then he has his website link and his social links. The next one we'll look at is ADRIAN Salisbury, and he is a trainer. He trains in Ecamm Live and YouTube and Kajabi. He's an excellent trainer, and he's actually employed by a number of these companies. He has a website. It's a real clear call to action with an arrow pointing down there, so it's really clear that he wants you to click on this. Got a really nice warm picture of himself, his name, tagline, and the 4 academies that he has. So it's really clear what he does and who it's for, and the design's really clear and very straightforward. The next one we'll look at is Daniel Scott. And Daniel is an Adobe certified trainer, and he has a company, Bring Your Own Laptop, where he does Adobe application training. And he has very clear about what he does with a link, and again, a link over to the clickable link to his courses on the side with his social channels. A really nice warm picture of him, and he's really an excellent trainer, so if you are looking to learn some Adobe applications, I would definitely go check out Daniel Scott's stuff. He keeps it, again, all of his design towards the center and has a nice kind of engaging, warm background color. Jesse Showalter, again, an excellent designer and has a great channel if you haven't checked it out. He has new videos every week, which he lists. He has a picture of himself with his signature baseball hat and black t-shirt, kind of a brand look for him. And then he states very clearly what he does at the bottom. And he features his newsletter. So if you want to sign up for his newsletter, you get this click. But he doesn't really utilize the space on the sides, and has his clickable links over to the side. This is Teal Swan, who's a fairly well-known meditation guidance expert, and her banner is, it really speaks to her brand. So it's very calm. There's a big picture. It's very blue. She's in a meditation pose. Really simple in how she goes about it. She doesn't really utilize a lot of the different must-haves that you would have on a banner, but she does have a URL, free 5 guided sessions where you can download those over here, and a real kind of mission statement of deepening your inner journey. Charlie Marie is a web designer, and she has a great channel about kind of lifestyle of being a web designer, and she focuses on Figma, so she lists that up here, a couple of nice photos of her working, so you really get a vibe of what her channel is about. Little arrow pointing to herself. Her color palette is purple, which is her brand, and it matches her hair. So all of that kind of ties together, which is really great. And she has weekly videos and live streams with a little video arrow pointing to that, and then links to her website and social. So it really speaks to who she is. It's very straightforward. Brand colors and brand design are completely aligned with the rest of her thumbnails, etc. So this really speaks to her brand really well, and really checks a whole lot of the boxes for YouTube banners. This is the banner for Amy Landino, who used to be Amy Schmidauer with a web content and a social media marketing channel called Sexy Savvy Social. She's since pivoted to a lifestyle brand, and this banner really speaks to that brand really well. She uses a kind of a neon font in a lot of what she does. It's even in the background of the room she sometimes records in. She has a community that you can join, so she has that shown on a phone with a little call to action, which is great. And she's got a book coming out soon, a little lifestyle photo over here, her logo, and her tagline, "Good morning, good life." She keeps all of that important stuff to the center, and then she has some, laptop lifestyle sort of mood photos over on the outside. And then she's got a free instant access course here. So again, that's something that you can access right away, and you probably have to sign up to her email list to get it. But it's a super, super effective banner. Adam Ivy is a marketing specialist, but he focuses on the music industry. And so he's got a tagline at the bottom, helping you go further and faster in your music career. His brand design is pretty straightforward. He's got a great kind of icon for his A in his name, and it kind of interacts with his photograph, which is really cool. He doesn't really utilize the sides of the banner very much, but he does utilize it in terms of design for kind of pushing forward his brand design aesthetic and his colors. So that's very effective because it also ties into his word mark, which is his name. And it says what he does: marketing specialist, producer, entrepreneur, and he's got a website. He's on Twitter and Instagram. So very nicely designed, checks all the boxes, keeps all the important stuff right to the center, but utilizes the outside to really tell the larger brand design story, which is very smart. Michael Janda, good friend, another great agency marketing design expert. And he has a really great aesthetic with a very simple color palette of yellow, black, and white. And he uses Helvetica Bold in just about everything he does. And so he's using the font. He's using an arrow to kind of point the energy towards the center. He's got a list of credentials here, which are very impressive as a 15-year agency owner and working with a lot of Fortune 100 clients. He's got a book out, which he lists, and then his website and his key social channels. Really great warm photograph of himself. So I think this is a super effective banner. And again, he keeps all the important stuff really to the center in case any of this stuff on the side gets chopped out. This is the future, which you probably know about. I wanted to point attention to this one in particular because Chris Do features a whole lot of his team. He's got a very big team at the future, and he's got a mission, the 1 billion mission, which if you don't know the future or you don't know what their real mission is in terms of teaching 1 billion people about design and being in the business of design, it doesn't really tell you here, so you kind of have to know. But again, very cleanly designed, keeps it all towards the center. Got some links over to the side. Very tasteful, but I pulled this one out in particular because how he features his team in the background as well. Vanessa Lau is a Instagram expert, and she has her Instagram handle over here. She features her Instagram profile on a phone, so that shows how many followers she has. That's a bit of her credentials that she's championing and kind of trumpeting there, which is very smart. Her name, who she's helping, so helping creators and coaches get visible, get paid, so that's a benefit. And then her cadence of when she posts new video every week. She features some training on a laptop with a big bold arrow that takes you down to clicking on a free training. And she's got the Instagram avatar icon in a number of places on this banner, so it really shows what her focus is on Instagram. So super successful banner for Vanessa. This is my friend Chris Ducker, who runs Upreneur, which is a solopreneur personal brand development business and community. And he spends a lot of real estate, saying that he posts every week and helping you create a profitable business from your expertise. He puts his name and the Upreneur logo way over here on the side, which if you're at full view on a desktop, you're going to see it. But the problem with this one is that if you actually are on the minimum on a desktop or on a phone, this might actually, his name and the company might get cut off, and this might be all that you see. But Chris has got a great personality. It's a great photo of him. The one thing I'll give Chris kudos for is that his brand design is very, very consistent. He's got this navy blue, orange, and white color palette, which he uses consistently across everything he does, his website, his thumbnails, all of his courses. Excellent banner for Chris, except if I was going to critique him and say that he should, change anything, it would be maybe minimizing this new video every week and dropping in Chris Ducker and Upreneur towards the center so he didn't risk getting this cut off. Emma Viega-Malta is a creative business mentor, and she has a yellow and white color palette, and she actually even uses that in the leather jacket that she's got on. She's got blonde hair, so it all kind of ties together with her personal brand style and her brand color palette. She's got her website link over here on the side, and the name of her company, the Creative Business Hub and her name. So it's pretty straightforward. Not a lot of call to actions, not a lot of arrows, but an effective banner. And she's got a lot of personality, so it shows some humanity and warmth, so you know what you're getting with the channel. This is the banner from Laura Pearman, who has a YouTube channel called Moi TV. And her name is pretty small here, presented by Hostess with the Mostest, Laura Pearman. She's got a Venus on the half shell illustration, some great pattern. Off to the side, some great pictures of her, but these pictures of her might actually get cut off depending on the desktop configuration that you're on. She calls out creative direction, brand strategy, brand photography, and she's got some links to her Instagram. The aesthetic of this is very much aligned with her brand aesthetic, which is kind of retro, a little quirky, super fun, and it really reflects her personality really well, I think. So this is a really well-designed banner. Even though if I had to give her a suggestion, I would say she should really kind of elevate her name to boost up that personal brand name recognition in her artwork. This is Roberto Blake, which you probably know, and Roberto knows how to do YouTube, so he keeps most of his stuff to the center. Great warm picture of him with the key icons floating around of what he focuses on. You can see YouTube in 3 different places on here, so it's clear what he's focusing on. Some credential builders around Forbes and Entrepreneur, publications that he's appeared in. Very clear cadence, new videos every week. The future of the creator economy is really the focus of everything that he does. Business and branding over the side, but this is kind of duplicative. In case this gets cut off, this still calls out kind of that message. And he's got his silver YouTube play button over here for getting 100,000 subscribers with a very clear arrow pointing down to getting a freebie, so a free YouTube starter kit, which actually, if you don't have, I would recommend you're getting because it's got a lot of great templates in it. And he's got his social icons down here at the bottom. It's got this blend to orange kind of background with a lot of icons in it, and he also uses this in his YouTube thumbnails, this kind of a blend background, so that also his brand design is really consistent across his banner as well as some of his thumbnails. This is Arv Ramakrishna, and Arv is a friend of mine who has a channel, Driven to Draw, where he teaches sketching and painting. He also has a kind of a benefit, emotional benefit, stress relief, which is kind of cool, and it's called Driven to Draw. Arv doesn't have his name on here, so I would say that even though this is a beautifully designed banner and it has this painterly background and his icon, which is a palette with a rocket ship on it, and it's a warm, nice picture of him holding a paintbrush, so it really kind of speaks to exactly what he does. The one thing I would say is that it doesn't feature his name, so he's not really leveraging and developing any kind of name brand recognition. So as a personal brand, I would suggest probably that Arv would add his name to this, but a great banner, ticks most of the boxes. This is Pat Flynn. As you know, Pat Flynn is a podcasting expert, and Pat has achieved a certain level of recognition and fame that he really doesn't need to do everything in his banner, because most people who get there already really know who he is. So he's got his name big, he's got his taglines, and click to subscribe. So it's pretty straightforward, but it's a really nice, warm, human picture of him outside, and so it gives you a real sense of his personality. But this is a point I wanted to make about banners, is that when you reach a certain level of recognition and fame, you don't really have to have your banner do as much as maybe people who are really trying to build their businesses. So Pat isn't having to do as much of that heavy lifting. This is Gary Vee's channel, same thing, right? So his background, he has a whole lot of his social icons. You know, he is a social media icon himself. He's got his signature and his name. Videos and shorts every day. Boom, in, done. He doesn't have to tell a big story because everyone knows what he's about. And he's got his website and his social icons. So again, another example of someone who's really achieved a level of success. So their banners really don't have to work as hard maybe as someone who's trying to build a channel. Now I wanted to talk about a few banners that really aren't doing the people who have them much of a service. And so this banner actually doesn't have the name of the person whose channel it is. It doesn't have a picture of them. It just says subscribe and a simple work with me. No other social icons, no calls to action, no I mean, it's clear about what they do, all things content marketing, but it doesn't really talk about a benefit. It doesn't have a kind of that human touch. There are no calls to action or taglines, and so and no name. So it's kind of anonymous. And so I would say that this banner is probably not doing this person a whole lot of favors in terms of building their channel. And I've anonymized these by blurring things out because I don't want to like call out anybody super negatively. But this one, there's a photo of the person whose channel it is in the center, and he's in a fairly staged kind of environment. But his name is not here. What he does is not here. How often he posts is not here. There's no tagline, there's no icons, there's no calls to action, there's no indication really of what this channel is going to get you. So with all of this real estate as far as a banner that you have to work with and really promote yourself, this is not really ticking any of the boxes. Again, another banner of similar nature. This guy is actually very famous and has a number of channels on YouTube. And so I was actually kind of surprised to see this particular channel of his that was just a cartoon of someone holding a phone with a picture of him in it, but no name, no calls to action, even no clickable links on the side, which was really surprising to see. No cadence of posting, no description of the channel. So this banner isn't doing this particular person any favors. And this is also a branding person who, again, doesn't have really anything but a photo of themselves on their banner. There's no name of the channel, no name of a person. The photo itself really even doesn't carry that much of a personality with it for the person. And doesn't talk about the cadence of when they're posting, doesn't have any clickable links. So this banner was not really well considered at all in terms of what it could do for this person as they build their channel. So definitely an example of a piece of visual real estate in building a YouTube channel where the potential for growing your channel is just not being utilized. So let's review a little bit of your must-haves on your YouTube channel. You want to have your name or your company name. You want to have your personal logo or your company logo. You want to make sure that you state your channel's focus or your channel's mission. You want to have your URL on there and some clickable social links. You want to make sure that the aesthetic of your banner carries your brand design aesthetic. So this is your color palette, your photo style, your fonts, your logo. It should really speak to and pattern after your thumbnails and the rest of your brand design on your website, etc. And then you want to have a photo of you. You want to really come across as human. And if you're a company, if it's company banner, you still want to have some pictures of some people because people want to do business with people, not brands. And then some nice to haves, like if you should definitely have everything on that last slide, but some of the other things that you can have is like your posting schedule or a tagline. You may have some downloads or promotions or books or courses that people can click through clickable links. You want to, if you can, list your credentials or some sort of credibility building proof. You can have some app icons if you're working with particular apps or focusing on them in your content. You might want to feature your team members, like in the Futures banner that I showed you. And then also you might have arrows to really make it, really dumb it down, really make it really clear where you want people to click because, people get lost with big real estate of a lot of things going on visually. So making really clear arrows of where you want people to go or focus their attention is a really nice to have. So I want to ask you guys a favor. I don't usually do videos like this where I'm actually walking through and critiquing actual work and sharing my thoughts with you. So I want to know what you think about this video. Is this something that you'd like to see more of? Please leave me a comment down in the bottom if there's any sort of review videos that you would like to see me do, or if this worked for you. If it didn't, I'd really love to know your thoughts on it. So if you like this video on how to create a great YouTube banner, make sure to hit that subscribe button and bang that notifications bell. And if you need help with your brand design, your creative professional career, or some brand strategy or getting your business to the next level, be sure to reach out to me at philipvandusen.com and let's see what we can do to get you rocking. And with that, thanks again for watching, and bye for now.